Welcome to the Find My Catalyst podcast. We all have problems we're looking to solve, and we know there are solutions out there, but we struggle with this. How do we find the solution? Where does the nudge come from to help us take the next step and start solving tough problems? The intention of this podcast is to help you find your catalyst and take that next step. I'm your very irregular now host, Jody Mayberry. I'm sitting right here with Mike Simmons. I'll talk about sitting here with Mike Simmons first, but I want to address that. I say very irregular.
I wish I would have brought some fiber for you for this cruise.
Oh no. Mike Simmons throws in a dad joke right at the top of the episode.
You set me up, Jody. Like, how could I not take advantage of that opportunity that you teed up for me? It's awesome to see you.
Yes. Well,
yeah, that's awesome.
You set me up. Yeah, I set you up and you took a swing. That's for sure. Well, I used to host the show every episode, and Mike does such a great job now. That's a whole story in its own of Mike Simmons going from, my goodness, remember the first episodes we did together? I mean, we were practically reading from a script.
It was disgusting, but yes, you can still.
But you have to start there,
and you can still go out. And if you and when you do, and if you don't start somewhere, you'll never get to where you're going.
Yes, so you have to start somewhere, and that's where Mike had to start. If Mike hadn't started there, we wouldn't be here. Here being on the Scarlet Lady, the beautiful cruise ship for Virgin Voyages. Mike and I are on a cruise to teach workshops, which went fabulous. But we'll let you know the music, the background ruckus, that's because we're on a cruise ship, and the music did kind of pick up quite a bit once we started recording.
I think they're excited about this.
As they should be. Well, I will tell you, Mike did wonderful on his workshop. And I'll tell you, Mike, this was a unique setting to do a workshop. Mike will tell us more, but this is different, certainly different than an online presentation, different than speaking at a conference or something like that. Mike, what did you think? We'll maybe talk about your content, but just this format, speaking on a cruise where the people that were in front of you, you see them for 5 days.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And because on a cruise, the audience is going to be a bit smaller. So there's going to be this buildup over time, both from the first night that everybody says hello to each other, to going in through the workshops, to meeting at dinner, to hanging out at bars, doing all of those things. You can't help but start to talk about other things and really build a deep relationship. And I was fortunate enough to speak at a couple of events, and I saw Jody out in Orlando in November. And one of them, there were about 60-ish, 65 people at the event. The other one, there was about 1,200, maybe 1,400 people. I think somebody said 2,000, but we had this large group of people at one event, a small group of people at the other event. In each of those, there was this energy that I felt, number one, being in front of a group. Number two, getting some engagement from folks relative to the questions, seeing people engage with other people's questions and comments. And then the best part about it, and this is the point of the cruise, were all of the conversations that you'd have in the margins when you'd see people in the hallway. And now we've had 5 days, 4.5 days now that we've had a chance to really get to know each other. And I am a very, very big fan of this format.
It is a unique format. And by the way, I realized, Mike, the music got so much louder because it's live music. I didn't realize that, but yeah, the piano and singer. But this is something I put together for the online community that I run, and it has been fabulous because of the intimate nature of it, that people stop you along the way just throughout, as Mike was saying. And Mike even ended up talking to one workshop participant for a long time because she had questions. That doesn't happen at a conference.
I looked down at my watch and I said, it's 2:00 in the morning. I need to go to bed. I'm getting too old to stay up that late.
Yeah. So that was neat. Now, Mike's presentation was on the game plan, but this is neat to see you out more speaking, Now, I've seen you speak on the game plan. The other was
more of this demystify sales, simplifying selling.
Sales.
How do you help people, founders, small business owners, solopreneurs get better at sales? So the simplifying sales you've seen, I think this is the first time you've seen me do the game plan in person and have us walk through. What'd you think? We had a whiteboard, which was cool. Yes, we had a whiteboard on a ship. If you follow Jenny's Instagram, you'll see some pictures of that. We'll get some pictures out there too. But what'd you think?
I liked it. For me, it's been fun because I remember when you first had the game plan idea, the idea that would become game plan. So it's been an evolution to see what it's become. And it is shaping up really nice. And I think that the workshop format is the perfect format for game plan. It's still as good as a podcast episode. It's still good as a on-stage presentation, but a workshop where people can stop and ask questions and you can use somebody's example and work through it right then. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and everybody gets to lean into it too. Like you get different perspectives. You have people with different backgrounds and different views of the way that they're solving for certain things who can get involved in asking questions about, well, why would you call that an action? Or why is that something like that not an action? And how important is something, how do metrics fit into things like accountability, both accountability for self and accountability for the work to work? So that kind of environment. And actually, we had a question from Karen in the middle that took us off a tangent, but it was a really good tangent around applying the call plan framework to improve effective meetings and help people get better with outreach. So that's the kind of stuff that won't come up in a virtual environment because you're not going to be able to read everybody in the room. And when we saw the question that Karen had came from an area of focus that Amanda was focusing on. So when you pull all of these things together, then you really can build together, which is one of the primary reasons I have a whiteboard in my office. We're able to build together in a ship environment in a small, tight-knit group. So it was awesome. And I am really looking forward to doing more of this kind of work in 2023 and beyond.
Another good thing about workshops, this actually happened in one of the other. There were a few speakers. I'm just highlighting Mike because this is his podcast. But there were a few other speakers in one of the other workshops. We did exercises, and the speaker actually said to somebody, it was Karen, said to Karen, I could tell how uncomfortable this made you. That doesn't happen in a virtual environment. That doesn't happen in a keynote style presentation. That's something unique to this workshop format. So I've become a fan, and I think, at least for me, I'm probably going to run one of these once a year because this turned out really well.
Yeah. And you can learn more about this event by following the Phoenix group, which is the community that Jody was referring to. And we'll have links in the show notes. And it's an awesome group of people who are committed to being creative, figuring out how to innovate, figuring out how to make a better impact in the work that they do. And this ranges from people in the travel space to people in other parts of hospitality to people in me, working with technical founders, working with entrepreneurs. It was a very neat group of people. And I thought Lee's session around creativity and innovation tied to the relationship between Walt Disney and Salvador Dali was phenomenal. Dewan's session where he talks about Colina and the importance of essence and soul was really, really powerful. Your session on the story thread was really powerful. And what was interesting was to see the feedback or get the feedback from people on the ship to say, wow, this was really cool to see how all of these things tied together. So you put on a good program.
Well,
nice work.
Thank you. And although I knew what you were talking about, Mike, and I knew what Lee would talk about, I didn't realize how it would blend so nicely. Day one with Mike Simmons, Lee Kitchen was almost complement of each other. And then day two, same thing. It all bled together, and then every session tied in together. But Mike spoke to us about game plan. What are the other topics that you speak on, Mike?
So there are two other core topics. One is, so there's the game plan. The second one is around simplifying execution. And the third one, the one that I'm probably most known for, is around simplifying sales. And what was really interesting is the reframe that Jeff Knoll helped with, which is maybe looking at this, instead of calling it simplifying sales, calling it simplifying problem solving, which is in essence what sales is. It's about connecting the dots between problems that are known or unknown and solutions that are known or unknown. And it's problem solving at its core. So it's about simplification, goal setting and execution through clarity and focus, simplifying execution through tools, and simplifying sales.
And you do all of these in on stage, workshop, virtual. I mean, Mike has developed these in a program. So what I'm getting at is Mike is available.
I am available. Actually, I've been married for 24 years, so I'm not really available. Not that kind of available, but yes, I am available. And I want to do more of these. So if you're interested, if you listen to the podcast for a while or somebody has shared this episode with you, I am happy to have a conversation with you about how this might fit inside your organization. And if it doesn't fit with what you're looking at inside your organization, I can connect you with other people who are in my network who do take some different approaches when it comes to things like leadership, culture, revenue, and execution. And every business out there would like to see growth in revenue. Many times the gaps that get in the way of our execution when it comes to revenue is challenges around systems and process, thinking, training. And if we have those pieces in place, but we're still struggling, then we've really got to look at leadership and culture inside the business. So, yep, I am available, as Jody said. And if you want to do one of these things on a cruise, I am happy to do that again, too.
One last piece I want to talk about is the game plan started as a worksheet for people to go through. It's now full-blown in-person workshop, but there also was a step in the middle where it was cohorts. It was online. Tell me how that went, Mike, because that looked really interesting.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of different versions. There's the course that you can get through the Catalyst sales site, and we'll have links in the show notes. That's a self-directed course on demand. And then what I ran with a group of people, we had 4 different cohorts that did this last year. I had a group of people that went through, and we did the individual cohorts over a 15-day period focused on the game plan. And the cool thing about the cohorts is that people were able to interact back and forth with each other and engage with each other as they were going through this. And that was really valuable. The other thing that I didn't realize until we went through the cohort was the importance of coming up with kind of a choose your own adventure way to accelerate the game plan. Some people want to do the 15 days. Some people would like to see things happen a little bit faster. So we've got a couple of those options. I will continue to do cohorts like the ones that we did toward the end of last year. Watch for more information around mid-February. I think we'll run the first cohort of this year right around Valentine's Day. That usually is that period. You're about 6 weeks into the year and everybody's wondering, why did I give up on my goals? Why did I give up on the areas? Why am I not making progress? How come I'm not still going to the gym? So we'll launch a cohort around the mid part of February. Can do this in a workshop style like we did on the cruise. Can do this in a traditional on the stage presentation. And then there's always the course that's available on catalystcell.com.
When it comes to speaking, how can we get in touch and say, Mike, we want you at our conference, on our virtual event, or on our cruise-based workshop?
Yeah, just send a note to podcast@catalystcell.com. That will come to me, or you can send a direct message to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. All of those programs are open. Communicate with me in the way that you prefer to communicate, and I am happy to have that conversation. Also, I want to say that I achieved what I had shared with someone in November of last year as a life goal. One of my life goals was to be able to do a workshop or have a presentation in board shorts and rainbows, and I unlocked that this week. I did my presentation in board shorts and rainbows. So there you go.
I can tell you though, Mike, that's not something my granny would applaud.
Why would she not applaud it?
I don't know. She was traditional.
Yeah. The way I look at it, be you, be true to yourself. I can get as much done in a pair of board shorts and flip-flops as I can in a suit. And I can't remember the last time I put a suit on. But be you, go out there, get the work done. And if you're struggling with the work, 1, we can have a conversation. 2, just identify that next logical step and take it 1 step at a time, moving toward the thing that you're working on. So Jody, thanks for helping me unlock one of the levels that I was looking to unlock in my life.
I just helped you achieve a life goal that I didn't know that it was a goal, nor did I know I was going to help you achieve it. So it worked out all the way around. I do like what you said. I know this is changing direction just briefly before we wrap up, but I currently have long hair just left over from COVID, still have crazy COVID hair. And although I don't know if you're supposed to say that word, but
which one, the long hair or the COVID?
Yeah, COVID.
Or the long COVID?
But I have this long hair, and I work with Lee Cockerell, and so many people say, what does Lee think of your hair? And I said, Lee, everyone keeps asking me, what does Lee think of your hair? And he laughed and he said, I think you should be you, even if that means having long hair.
Be you. Everybody else is taken. I mean, that was a key thing that came up in the discussions over the course of the last 5 days. It's not, I mean, everybody can work really hard to be the best that they can be. Be the best. One way that you can separate yourself is be different. And that being different is something people won't be able to take away from you. And if you're not the right fit for someone, move on. Move to the next opportunity. Don't manufacture fit. If someone needs me to be in front of a room wearing a sport coat and a pair of dress shoes because they think that's what's going to help convey the message, I'm the wrong person for you. If you're okay with me showing up in a pair of jeans and Vans and an untucked shirt, good. If you're really okay with me showing up in board shorts and flip-flops, I'll love you and I'll give you a 10% discount.
Well, you heard it here first. 10% discount if Mike Simmons can wear board shorts for your presentation.
If you know of someone who would find value in this episode, please share it with them. Let Jody and me know. You can share that with via LinkedIn or via Twitter. Sales is a thinking process. Business is a thinking process. Life is a thinking process. How are you thinking differently about your process?